Hello, thank you for joining us today for our second in our series of our Instapage product tour, coffee and conversions. Some quick housekeeping items today as we get ready to begin in the next few minutes. Please, if you have any questions, submit them to the Q&A window and we will answer them toward the end. And then also we will be sending out a recording and copy of today's deck via email early next week. And finally, at the end of today's session, we'll share a survey link via email to kind of gather your feedback and learn how we can improve future webinars to ensure that we're providing you with valuable and actionable insights. So now that we've gone over those, I hope everyone has grabbed their coffee or their drink and is ready to get started. So for today's agenda, we're going to be going over some new and existing features and their benefits, and also how to use those in an optimized fashion. Then we'll follow that with a live in-product demonstration and then Q&A at the end. Presenting today is Griffin, our product marketing manager, myself, the senior manager of strategic service, to go over CRO best practices, and then Evan, our senior product manager. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started. Our feature spotlight, the first item we want to speak about today is our form builder and library. So Griffin, I'm going to go ahead and hand that over to you to get us started.
Sounds good. Thanks, Michelle. And hey, everyone. So with our form builder and library, essentially this enhancement, our main goal was to make it easier for you to create and reuse forms across your landing pages. So now, in addition to our landing page builder, you now have a dedicated drag and drop form builder to quickly make high-performing forms. Also, your forms can now be stored in a central form library. For a tip here, go to any of your existing pages where you use one form across it, hit save, and now you have your library built out in seconds. Ultimately, this library equips you with reusable forms, giving you one less element to build and allowing you to get more landing pages out faster.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then some tips and tricks to really get the most out of your forms is, first, we recommend using numpad only options for fields on mobile devices such as phone numbers or zip codes. That way it limits the options and makes it easier for visitors to input that information. Also, to minimize the number of fields that you feature on your form. So we've seen studies and through our own testing, seen that single field forms have shown an increased conversion up to 40%. And shorter forms that request only required information really do tend to perform better. Finally, try to set up autofill fields, as this can help improve your conversion rates by 20 to 30% due to the decreased friction and effort in filling out each field. And if you need assistance with that, our professional services team has historically helped customers configure this, which can be helpful if you need assistance there. But moving on, the next item that we want to review is our new scheduling feature. Griffin, can you share that with us?
Yeah, so scheduling, this is an extremely useful automation tool for your campaigns. It's actually really simple to use, and it's really powerful at the same time, and it lets you complete tasks now rather than manually having to do them later. We let you schedule 3 areas, which are page publishing, unpublishing, and updates. So next time you finish your page and know when your campaign should start and end, just schedule it and free up your time and to-do list.
That sounds good. And some tips and tricks for that. So by planning ahead, you can ensure that your landing pages go live or come down at the right time to really match those different product launches, campaigns, events, promotions that you have going on. And then to ensure that the audience finds the correct information, especially if your landing page is tied to a limited offer, set the publishing and unpublishing dates to correspond with the start and end dates of those promotions. Finally, regularly updating your page's content or design and having backups makes it easier to manage and update automated processes. Instapage emphasizes version control for ongoing landing page optimizations in order to help you with that. All right, so the next one is actually one of my favorites, but an existing feature, which is mobile editing. So Griffin, why don't we dive into that one?
Yeah, with mobile devices driving over 60% of web traffic, really building for mobile has become a necessity in this day and age. We know this, and that's why with our builder, when you build your desktop page, your mobile experience automatically gets built as well. To seamlessly generate your mobile experience, we recommend aligning and grouping your elements when building on desktop. locking the aspect ratio of your groups to ensure a consistent look across devices, and regenerating sections in the mobile view when you make any updates on desktop. And for all cases mentioned here, you still have the option to manually adjust your mobile layout as you see fit, giving you that balance between auto generation and precision.
Sounds great. Thank you for sharing that. And really some additional benefits or tips and tricks. So using that grouping to combine multiple elements such as text boxes, images, and buttons into a single unit allows you to easily move and align and adjust them together once you get to the mobile side. This alignment can help you ensure that elements on your page have that clean, professional look and improve that visual appeal to visitors, helping them kind of view the hierarchy of the page and guide them through the content more effectively. Also, the mobile aspect ratio locking ensures that the images and other visual elements maintain their proportions when they're resized. So this kind of prevents that distortion and maintains the quality of the visuals, ensuring that they look good on all mobile devices. And then finally, if you really want a different look on mobile, that section regeneration allows you to quickly generate and customize that pre-designed section for the mobile landing page. And it simplifies that design process, enabling you to create a mobile optimized section faster without sacrificing that design quality. So with that, let's move on to our next existing feature, which is personalization. Griffin, what can you tell us more about that?
With personalization, this is a great follow-up because we all know the importance of mobile personalization. It's one that is just as valuable and really can boost your conversions up by 42% by creating these personalized experiences for each landing page. And we make this process extremely simple with our personalization feature. Essentially, you can go to any landing page and duplicate that design through the personalization feature, and then you can start personalizing right away without any rebuilds. After that, you just use UTM parameters to ensure the right audience sees the right experience. And if no parameters are attached, the default page shows. So the page you duplicated, that's the page that will show. And then your personalized experiences will show based off your parameters.
I think that's a great note. And I think one thing to add there, which maybe Evan will go more into later, it doesn't have to be only UTM parameters, but you can also use custom parameters. So, maybe you want to have like a promo equals to show dynamic content for a certain promotion based on a personalization. You can use those custom parameters to trigger those as well. But some additional information around optimizing for personalization. So research and testing has proven the effectiveness of personalization with increases in conversion rates upwards of 42% when executed effectively. And really today, it's kind of expected by visitors. They want to make sure that there's that relevancy and that alignment to their interests and their needs. So while there's a lot that you can do with kind of that demographic data to personalize your content, I highly recommend focusing on really the intrinsic needs of your audience. For example, let's say like you're a meal kit delivery company and you can have two women with similar demographics. They're both age 30, living in San Francisco, and that's great to maybe inform some imagery or tone. But one of those women is a married working mom with two kids and is short on time to run to the grocery store and prepare healthy nightly meals for her kids, while the other is single and working on eating healthier, more balanced meals and wants easy meal planning solution. So their needs are different, and therefore they should be marketed to differently based on what those needs are in order to really show the value of your product. And so that's where personalization comes in beyond just like a name or an age or a gender, of really focusing on the needs of those audiences to create personalized content. So with that, one more new feature that is coming out that I'm really excited about is our API. So Griffin, tell us more about this one.
Yeah, with our API right now, it's currently in beta testing. So if you want access, contact our support team. This is one, yeah, as Michelle mentioned, we're really excited. It's coming soon. We're building it out. We're getting feedback. Everyone, we have people using it, and it's really just going to be a powerful tool to allow you to build custom solutions on top of Instapage, all with our API and the endpoints it offers. For example, with our analytics endpoints, you can create detailed reports in your analytics tools to identify optimization opportunities or seasonal trends. You can also build custom integrations, features, and more based on your unique marketing needs. And as you explore here, we recommend involving your development team to clarify what's possible and where they can support. However, this week, we did just recently make a Google Sheets report template to get you started using our API without any dependencies. You can find that in our help center, and later Michelle will actually walk you all through it.
Thanks, Griffin. And some additional tips and tricks for that. So before using an API, it's really important to understand the API thoroughly. Familiarize yourself with the documentation, the different endpoints, and the responses. Specifically, if you're doing any sort of automation in terms of like publishing or unpublishing pages, you want to make sure that you're not turning off a page that should be live and is receiving traffic. And then in terms of pulling data with an API, make sure that you're optimizing those data requests and fetch only the necessary data that you need to get from that. So like don't have any extra calls there because basically that's going to increase the load and the time it takes to pull that information. And so having fewer calls will create more efficient handling and lead to faster response times. And then one other one not listed on the slide, but making sure you keep your token protected. So this is access to your Instapage workspace. And so if it, gets out there, then it allows other people access to use that. So make sure that you're keeping that protected. And if for some reason it does get out there in a public way, we do have a feature to generate a new token. That way you can make sure that you're keeping your workspace safe. So now with that, I'm really excited to go into the next portion, which is our in-product demonstration. So I will go ahead and hand it over to Evan to get us started.
Sounds good.
As he's pulling that up, if you want to start putting any questions in the prompt, we can make sure that we answer those at the end of the presentation.
Yeah. So first, let's look at the form builder. With the form builder, you'll find your forms within the library here on the side, and this will show you your form templates, any of the forms that you've saved, like my forms, and anybody who's asking whether global forms will be available in the future. This is probably a good spoiler for you. So when you get in here, you can go into a form you already have and you can edit it, or you can create a new form. So we're going to create a form. Within here, you have two types of fields you can add. We have these predefined, and these are ones that we have provided. A lot of the things in them kind of do things for you. So the phone number has the ability to set the country code, set the default, have this little section, or don't have it. You have ones like country that, there it goes, pre-populates all the possible countries in it. And with these and with any of the other optional ones, you can delete them, you can rearrange them, or if you want to do things in bulk, use this add multiple, and you can come in here and make large changes. You can delete everything and just save what you want. It really lets you do what you need to do pretty easily. Anything else, first name, last name, email, all these kind of manage a text field, but they give them a distinct name that will later work with new features we are going to be introducing. With custom, these are the same types that we've always had, single line, multi-line, etc. And with those, when you select them, you can see all the different possibilities. Single line has hidden, where once you have hidden, you can put a value and pass values through your forms that maybe your users don't need to see. Maybe you're tagging it for a specific thing that was going on with that page at the time, and you just want that information in your leads and in your content. Additionally, if you select out, you'll be able to see all the form settings. A lot of the ones are things that we've had before, steps where you can create multi-step forms. As you create new steps, it just makes a new empty form, and you can add new fields. You can always rearrange them, and you can delete them. So you can go back to a single step form from a multi-step. Next, you have form submission. So these are the same rules about choosing how your forms submit and what happens after. We also do have this option where you can pass URL parameters through, which means anything that comes to the page will now have those URL parameters that came to the page and will be passed through to whatever external page you go to afterwards, so that you can have multi-step funnels and this be maybe one of your middle steps. You'll have styling and all that we've had in the past. We also have this option, Google Analytics, that lets you assign custom events to GA so that you can add a specific event and find that within your analytics. So from here, I would do insert. I could also save it to my forms or to my global, which you will have that option soon in the future. But I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to go back to the page. And so on the page, I have in my pop-up a form here. You can see when you have a form, if you select it, you'll get edit form, and this will bring you back to the form builder. It did open in a new tab, and once I make changes, they will have an update option that will push those changes back to my page. And then I can also save that instance from that page to my form. So as Michelle said, if you have legacy forms that you built before we had this form editor, you can select this form and you can save it to your library to reuse. The last place that you can actually edit forms is within your dashboard. So when you're in your dashboard under assets, you will have forms that will bring you to the same kind of form library. It does only show the ones that you have saved, and you can create a new one or you can modify this one. You can also save that to the global in the future. And that should be everything you can do with forms. So next, let's look at the scheduling options. Scheduling, you'll go to landing pages and you'll see your landing page, and this page is not published. So I will go to it and I will see under publish. As I'm going through my publishing options, when you get to this next step, you will see you have scheduling options. You can let them publish immediately by hitting continue, or you can choose a specific time to publish. This will let you do anything between 5 minutes to 2 years ahead. You can also schedule your unpublished date and you can continue, and it will verify with you. Okay, it's making sure that I don't unpublish too quickly. So when you get to your confirm page, it will show you the dates and times. That way you have a very clear idea of when it's going to release. And you can set that to schedule. And when you do, you will make this work. You will notice that there is a timer on here so that you can see that when it is scheduled to publish, but the dot indicator still shows that it is unpublished. Now let me open this. I'll show you one that has changes. And so this is a page that's already published, but you have a change and you want to manage that change. You will come to scheduling and you can actually schedule the time that it updates. Anytime you come in here, even if you didn't have a change, you could take a page that's already published, schedule it to unpublish, or you could remove this and set it to when I want to unpublish and not have it scheduled anymore. And that's all you can do with scheduling. So next, let's look at our mobile editing. Let me go back to my page here, and let's look at a section here where I have different elements. You can see they're separated, but I'm going to gather them all together and I'm going to group them. Same thing for these. I'm going to gather them all and group them. And that allows you to have them grouped even when you get to mobile. So we're going to go to mobile. And from mobile, we're going to come down here. I'm going to take this section. And now that I'm in that section, if I hit regenerate, it only regenerates that block. And now you see they're all in a different order. But since they're grouped, it's much easier for me to move them around in here. I can move them up and down, kind of realign everything. But even though they're grouped, you can click in here and you can still realign things. You can select multiple pieces within that. While that's still grouped, you can make sure that those are centered up. You can, change your alignments within those and still manage different kind of elements in there. You can resize them separately. So I can resize this background, or I can resize the group, which will then scale everything. So those are all the different ways you can use all of those. You saw I reordered these, and by having them grouped, I was able to kind of reconfigure this area pretty quickly. And that should be everything for you in mobile. Do note that when you jump between desktop and mobile, it does automatically save for you. So if you then didn't want that change and you backed out, you have already saved that change. So you will want to undo those changes before that, because as you can see, everything has continued to follow me. Next, let's look at personalization. So within personalization, it's under optimize and personalize. You will see all your personalized experiences. I've selected into one and it shows me those variations. So when you come in here, you can create a new experience, and from there you would choose a page and give it a name and create, and it would create this kind of section. It would automatically bring you into your next variation where you could edit it. And I've added a version 2 where we can see the difference, but the big value comes in when we publish. So let's go to publish and look at our options. Our default option gives this automatically generated distinct value. You can optionally give it an ID with a name so that you could see that name within that URL and know visually just what it is. You can use what we have labeled as UTM, which has UTMs, and you can use any UTMs that come to your page to manage those. As you add anything in here, you'll see that it shows those UTMs here in that URL. But you can also use custom parameter, as Michelle was saying. And this is good for things like GCL ID, which you'll get from Google Ads or any other products that kind of push that. If you're using another ad generation kind of tool that's pushing traffic to your page, whatever key it puts on there, you can put in here. And once you have that added, you'll then see that on the URL. I will continue. I will publish this immediately, but I could also schedule this. And now that GCL ID is available and that optional page is there. So if I show you the original page, I will then add that GCL ID. And it will show me that version. The last thing to know is you can add other URL parameters, even though that one's there, outside of the ones that it's targeting. So think of the ones here as your actual targets that decide what page loads. But if you just wanted to have that GCL ID to split them, but you have the same UTMs on them, you can add those, and this page will continue to load the same page based upon these keys being correct. Now, if you do have more than one value in here as a target, they all must be satisfied for it to load. With that, you'll be able to manage different pages, but you do have to make sure and test that the pages are loading based upon the keys that you will be pushing through. And that should be everything for personalization. So let's look at our API. With the API, like Griffin said, it is in beta. About 50% of our users should already have access. If you don't have access, definitely reach out to support and we will add you. If you do have it, you will see this section here that says API, and it is a beta product. So keep that in mind as you're using it. You can select API here to jump, or you can come here to My Account Admin, and it will bring you to the same page where your token is. You can create new token. If you don't have a token, it will give you the first token you have, and you can either look at it here and copy it, or you can use copy to clipboard. If for some reason you need to change your token, maybe it's been seen in the public, or you want to take rights away from someone you've given them to, you can create new token again, and it will generate a new one and deauthenticate the old token. Next, you have the technical documentation link here that will bring you to this website. This is our devdocs.instapage.com, and this will have everything you want to know about that API. So within here, we will tell you everything about limits, how to get started, authentication, and then we have all our different endpoints. So one of the things to keep in mind, like Michelle was saying, to make sure you're not making too many calls, that you're doing it kind of just calling what you need, because there is a limitation. That limitation is rather high. It is 200 requests a minute. If you send more than that, they will not send data back until the next minute comes up. So just kind of manage your calls in that kind of way. That is quite a bit for the kind of data that we have on here. But if you are hitting limits for a need you have, definitely reach out to us and let us know your use case so we can see what maybe we need to expand in the future. So let's look at some of these endpoints. We have workspaces. This will tell you about your workspaces. You also can add and remove workspaces. This does not let you move pages between the workspaces yet, but it does let you manage your workspaces and create and remove them and update them as needed. Workspace itself, the only thing that you're really doing is giving it the name, and optionally, as you have different things, different numbers to go with it. Team members is the next one. This will give you a list of team members for a workspace. Workspace is kind of the key to most of these and the thing to really keep in mind. So for team members, you give it a workspace ID, and as this shows you, it will give you all the users who have access to that workspace. If you cycled through all the workspaces you have, you would be able to see all your users and where they are in those workspaces. Next, we have pages, and with pages, this is one of the ones where you actually can do something to them. You can get all the pages in a workspace, so workspace ID is still your key, but you also can publish and you can unpublish, and you can search for pages using different things, IDs, titles, URL. We will continue to add other parameters to be able to search, but when you're doing something like publishing, unpublishing, you will need that page ID, which comes from that list. So again, you're kind of mixing calls. You're getting your workspace, you're getting your pages, then you're doing things with those pages like publishing, unpublishing. You'll be able to find analytics information also. So personalizations, one we just looked at, this works much like a key of the page. So you have workspace ID and key, the page ID, and that will let you see which personalizations are built for that page. It does not let you do anything with them yet, but that will be something we'll look at in the future. Analytics, this works on a workspace level. So you give it a workspace ID, and it will give you all the analytics for that workspace. But as you can see, they have page IDs in here. So you can parse that data and get that page level information to a degree. Form submissions, this is if you have any of those forms that we built on a page and they are getting submissions from your users, they will continue to come in here and you will be able to look them up by workspace ID, and that will just let you kind of get them as you go, and you can gather them that way if you really wanted to. Experiments are kind of parallel to pages. So you have a workspace ID and then you'll get all the experiments in there. It will show you not just them, but what status they're at. So I have some that are ended, some that are in draft, those kind of things. We'll continue to kind of grow this so that you can use the experiments endpoint in more ways in the future. And we always have examples in here. You can always jump back and get your key. But to really show you the power of this, I think just having Michelle show you the worksheet will really just kind of show you what can be done with the API. Let me pass it back to you, Michelle.
Thanks, Evan. All right, and as I'm pulling up the screen, so just an item of note for everyone on the Convert plan, we do have professional services available. If you need assistance creating a custom report, we can help you with that, or custom automations. We have our engineering team that's able to assist with that as well. So looking at the document, so this will be in the Help Center article where it will bring you to a screen to make a copy of the worksheet. So we will go ahead and do that. Maybe. That's thinking. Just give it a moment there. It might make 3 copies because I clicked it 3 times. All right. So then you have this field here where you can input your token. And so what I will do is I will go ahead and grab the token to input it here. Like I said, generally you want to keep this confidential, so we have it whited out, but even so, we will still regenerate this token after the call. So for the first time use, when you click generate report, it's going to start running the script, and then it's going to ask for an authorization for the app script. So we'll give it a moment there. Let me try that one more time. There we go. So authorization required, we'll click OK. Then you will have to just log in, allow, and then re-click that button. So I'll click it one more time. It's running the script. And then what you can see as you start to come into these different areas, we'll start to see this information populate. So this is the main reporting tab. It shows you the date range for the last month. And then you'll start to see these numbers and these pieces of data populate. This comes from these other tabs where we're pulling in the different workspaces, the different traffic and conversions for the last month, traffic and conversions from the last 12 months, and then the total number of pages. There's also a few hidden sheets in here, your general and your year breakdown. Those ones just feed into this report document. But essentially we'll see this all start to fill in. It just takes a few moments as it's a little bit of a shorter call. And then just a reminder, if you have more pages and more data, it will take a little bit longer than this. But now we can see this pulled in as a snapshot. So for this owner, there's 2 workspaces. They have 15 published pages. Over the last month, they had 5 unique visitors, over 92 for the last 12 months. Again, this is a sample space, so not a lot of traffic in there. 2 conversions the last month, over 11. And then it shows you the top 10 traffic pages, the lowest 10 traffic pages, and then that year look back to see, you know, how many pages received traffic and how many conversions there were for those. So this is just a good snapshot to get that data. But like I said, if you are looking for something a little bit more robust or different information, please reach out to your CSM, and our professional services team can work with you on creating a custom report to meet your needs. So with that, I want to go ahead and move into the next item. On top of getting access to the API and requesting that, we do regularly introduce new features. And if you would like early access to test those out and provide feedback, we would recommend registering for the program. You can do that by when you receive this deck, either clicking this link for join today or visit bit.ly IP-early-access and just fill out that form to request early access to new features. Finally, in conclusion, I just want to jump over to our Q&A. We have a few questions here. One of them, so Evan, somebody asked, can I make changes to something once it's scheduled, and how would that work?
Yes, you can make changes to scheduled items. It will still come up as updated again, and at that point, you may want to make sure that you are pushing your updates to schedule as opposed to leaving changes that are not set to publish.
That's good. Next one, what are some use cases for when I would want to show content on desktop and not mobile, or show something different? So I'll go ahead and take this one. A good example of that is, let's say on your desktop device, you have a testimonial feature where you're serving that in a 3-column. But on mobile, if you were to stack those, that increases the vertical scroll of the page where maybe some other information is being pushed further down the page. So on mobile, maybe you want to serve that in like a carousel where visitors can kind of swipe through those different slides or the different testimonials to give that different experience. Other considerations are like in your hero, where you want to make sure that that main CTA is above the fold, and maybe in the current layout of the hero or the order of the content, it would be pushed below the fold, so you can reorder that on mobile devices to provide an optimized mobile experience. I think, let's see, Griffin, this one I'll pass over to you. What are some good use cases for scheduling? I know we went over a couple, but did you have any examples?
Yeah, we see scheduling by our customers be used in, I'd say, a few scenarios. One being limited time promotions, another being webinars, and then even if you're working across time zones or taking time off, that's another scenario we've seen it used. So essentially, it's letting you automate your page, either an update, being published, being unpublished. So if you have a promo page and you know the dates, you can have it go up and down exactly when you need. And then for a webinar registration page, let's say the webinar ends. So after this, that page could go down automatically without anyone having to do that task. That's another good use case.
Yeah, I think even for the webinar, a good use case on that would be maybe access to the recording. So maybe you already have like a page staged, like a different thank you page with the recording, but you still want to capture information for visitors who want to view the recording. So you can update the page to like change the verbiage and the redirect to the page that's hosting that recording. So all good use cases there. One more question here. Are changes to forms in HTML blocks and global blocks treated the same as all other elements in global blocks? And they added, so if changes are made in them, they'll be applied to all pages where this global block exists, or are they treated separately? I think that one's for you, Evan.
Yeah, anything done in a global block will change on any page where that global block is used. And with a form, same thing. If you made a change to that form, that instance of that form belongs to the global block. If you think of non-global forms as just instances like a copy, I put it on here and it's now on that page. Well, think of it as that global block is a page in itself, and it just happens to show on a lot of other pages.
Good answer. All right, and we'll just wait a few more seconds to see if we have any other questions come in. All right, I'm not seeing anything else. So before we go, just to let you know, we do have another webinar coming up on April 17th, where we'll be reviewing carousels, heat maps, the pop-up library, collaboration, image library, and then also keep an eye out for other sneak peeks in future webinars. Just want to thank you for your time today in reviewing this. Again, if you have any questions or want to learn more about new features, please reach out to your CSM for either custom feature trainings. And then also remember, you have the professional services team to help you with implementing and guiding strategy on any of these features for your landing pages. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.